Hey everyone, welcome back to Arbitrary 20. Today we're going to be looking at the new Druid from the Player's Handbook, Playtest 6.
So the first change is that they have cut channel nature in favor of restoring wild shape at second level, and we'll get to wild shape in a little bit. And then they changed druidic to where you always have speak with animals prepared. Still has the old stuff now as well, so I guess that makes it a little bit less of a ribbon. They give you a spell preparation as well. We have a new first level feature as well, Primal Order, which lets you improve your armor and weapon proficiencies or your spellcasting. Similar to Holy Order, you can choose either Magician or Warden. Magician lets you get an extra cantrip and a bonus to your nature checks equal to your wisdom modifier, or Warden where you get martial weapons and medium armor training. Just like the Cleric, I think Warden is always the way to go here, unless, like we talked about in the Cleric video, you just dip Cleric for heavy armor.
I think these orders are really cool. We saw this first, I believe, with the Cleric a couple playtests back, and I just thought it was super cool. There's a part of me that wishes they would do it with almost all the classes, just because I think that's cool. It's just another way to specialize. Maybe not exactly like this, because obviously it wouldn't work for everything, but at least for the priests, I think each having their own.
It's interesting for sure. I think the first choice is the Magician and Thaumaturge could be a bit better. Because as of right now, the armor ones are just way too good in comparison.
Of course, yeah, it's free.
And then spellcasting, like all the other classes, no longer tied to your level of spell slots, which is good. And then Wild Shape has returned to second level. The feature has returned to using beast stat blocks, and has new rules for how you interact with those stat blocks. In addition, using Wild Shape is now a bonus action for all druids, and swim speeds are available from the beginning.
It kind of removes one of the features a little bit from the old Moon Druid, but overall I think doing it as a bonus action is just better on your action economy.
Yeah, I don't particularly think it would ever really come up, just because beyond level like 4 or 5 for most regular druids, you're not going to be using it in combat.
Yeah,
at least
true.
Rarely ever. Yeah.
However, if you are, it's kind of nice because then you now, as a bonus action, you can do it, and you can also get a spell up at the beginning of your turn, and then that way you're not slogging 2 of your rounds, 2 of your turns, yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they start at what, 1/4? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the biggest change is that you retain your hit points. But other than that, you still get to keep like your class features, species traits, feats, your mental ability scores. So you lose some of the toughness that Wild Shape gave you, especially for the Moon Druid. But now a lot of those like multi-class and feat combos are back, which is pretty cool. Which, I don't know, I wish it would still give you like temporary hit points or something, but I can see why they wanted to remove some of the tankiness of Wild Shape, because you got like later on, I mean even in early levels of Moon Druid, you had almost 100 effective HP at level 2 or something.
It was a little crazy. I definitely, personally, I prefer the old Druid better, like one we have currently for 5e, but this is probably for the better.
With all your uses of Wild Shape, you probably just had too many hit points as their thing.
Yeah, I feel that. At least Wild Shape is usable now.
Yeah, that's true. At least it's not literally just worse than the Shillelagh cantrip. That's a pretty massive upgrade from the last playtest.
That's what I'm happy about. At least you can still Wild Shape, and it's still like...
At least it's worth using.
It's worth using, yes. One
issue with this, though, is like the whole scouting thing. So like before, when you turned into a spider or a rat or some super tiny creature and then went into scout somewhere and be basically undetected for free, there was risk to that before, where you had 1 hit point, and if you got hit a single time, now you're your druid form again. That's not a thing anymore. You can be a spider and get stepped on for 10 damage and you're still just a spider. Like, there's no risk to scouting like that anymore. So, I don't know. It could, in some cases, it could be bad that you're not able to lose the form by taking damage. Which, I mean, they can literally kill you and then you lose the form, but it's gonna take, which I believe you lose, yeah, you lose it when you're incapacitated or die. So, like, I don't know. I can see that being a bad thing, too.
Yeah, there are still kind of some problems with this. Yeah. I don't know what a workaround for that would be without just going back to 5e Druid, but then again, I mean, it's just a vicious circle of,
Yeah.
you know, solving one problem creates a new one and then just back again.
It's just which one of those is worse.
Yeah,
which one is the lesser evil, yeah.
I mean, I don't think we've played very many Druids here, but is scouting like a really popular thing that most Druids do? I figured, okay, yeah. So, both problems come up.
Well, the big thing is you still keep your mental ability scores. If you turn into like a moth with an intelligence of 1, depending on how, like, meta you are, you don't get a whole lot out of that.
Just a moth with the biggest brain.
Yeah. So, like, it has the upside from polymorph to where you keep your mental stats. And does it let you talk now? Yeah, you keep languages. So now you can even talk while you're a spider or whatever.
That doesn't really make sense, but yeah, that works. I mean, you can have a lot of fun with some NPCs doing that. Like if you're like a spider dude,
you just crawl up
you just like crawl around
and just yell into their ears.
Yeah, just yell in their ear, and they have no idea what's going on.
Dude, this druid is just the biggest troll of all time.
Truly.
I just don't know how to feel about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, this is significantly better than the old wild shape, but yeah, definitely still has some weird stuff.
Yeah, it needs a little more tweaking, a little bit more fine tuning, but overall, like I'd say this is definitely playable. You could run this and it would be fine.
For sure.
Yeah.
It'd be okay if it ended up like this, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Wild Resurgence has moved from 15th to 5th level and has been redesigned. The new feature answers the desire to have more flexibility between using Wild Shape and spells. Yeah, so this lets you sort of trade your Wild Shape uses for spell slots or spell slots for Wild Shape uses, which I think is really cool. So you can focus on either being mainly a spellcaster or mainly a shapeshifter.
It's interesting, you can go both ways. I guess it's also kind of interesting that there's a limitation on the spells, creating the spell slots from the Wild Shape feature, and then there's not really a limitation on how many Wild Shape uses you can get, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is strange that one has a limitation over the other, but I do definitely like the idea of this feature.
Yes,
right, yeah.
It's cool. It's not the end of the world if you run out of Wild Shape uses, because then you can still get more.
Yeah, or spell slots,
Yeah.
and you
very
can trade your Wild Shape for one, yeah.
Yeah, you're versatile now.
And then Elemental Fury is a new 7th level feature allowing the Druid to increase the effectiveness of their cantrips or their attacks with weapons and Wild Shape. So now they get Potent Spellcasting or Primal Strikes, so this is pretty similar to the Cleric's Bless Strikes. They can add their Wisdom modifier to damage with a Primal cantrip, or once on each of your turns when you hit a creature with an attack roll with a weapon or a beast form's attack in Wild Shape, you can cause the target to take an extra d8 cold fire, lightning, or thunder damage. This does have more damage options than Bless Strikes, which is cool. I don't know of any Druid subclasses that use weapons, though. I mean, I guess if you like multi-class with a Ranger or something, this could be cool, but...
You can use a beast form's attack.
Well, yeah, it's useful for the Moon Druid, but... It's cool. I like it. I mean, most of the time you're probably going to pick the Potent Spellcasting, but...
Yeah. And I'm not sure how
I guess that's the case for the Cleric too in a lot of cases, yeah, but...
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about the Cleric and the Druid. I think also the Paladin gets this. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about them all getting kind of basically the same feature. It was kind of recycled to me, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think they're different enough. I mean, I think they're supposed to be a little bit similar since they're in the same class group.
Yeah,
with them introducing that, yeah.
It's the family identity, I guess, yeah. It's cool.
And then the improved Elemental Fury with Potent Spellcasting gives you an increased range. Any cantrip with a range of 10 feet or greater, the spell's range increases to 300 feet. I don't see it ever coming up to be that long, but okay. And then, just like the Blessed Strikes, the damage of Primal Strike increases to 2d8.
Was it 300 on the Cleric?
No, it was temporary hit points to yourself or an ally.
What about Paladin? Does it...
No, Paladin is just improved Divine Smite at 11th level, which is more damage.
Thorn whip someone from 300 feet away.
Wait, you're right. Thorn, I don't know if Thorn Whip is
Primal?
in this playtest, but, you know, assuming backwards compatibility.
Put that on a t-shirt. Assuming backwards compatibility.
Yeah, honestly, that's a good t-shirt.
We will break the game.
Thorn Whip. Range 30 feet, but it's your melee spell attacking from 300 feet away. I mean, pulling 10 feet doesn't really matter when it's 300 feet.
This truly is such a troll class.
Yeah, you could be flying from like literally like hundreds of feet in the sky and then randomly just pull a guy up from the ground. That's
and then they
pure
fall
gold,
into
yeah.
fall damage. It's like a yo-yo of death type thing.
Oh, jeez. Okay, yeah, that's...
That is...
Okay, yeah, that version of potent spellcasting is funny, but like, I don't know, I don't think it's very good.
It's probably situational, but it's such a good meme.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. So yeah, that's interesting. And then they get a new 9th level feature, Commune with Nature. I think it's the same as the Cleric one, except, yeah, they just get Commune with Nature prepared. Again, a free casting would be nice. It's a good spell, but just one preparation isn't really a whole class feature, enough for a whole class feature, I don't think.
Agreed.
And then the last change was the 20th level feature, Archdruid. Whenever you roll initiative and have no uses of Wild Shape, you regain 1 expended use of it. Then we have Nature Magician. You can convert uses of Wild Shape into a spell slot, no action required. Choose a number of your unexpended uses of Wild Shape and convert them into a single spell slot, with each use contributing 2 spell levels. You must then finish a long rest before you can do so again. For example, if you convert 2 uses of Wild Shape, you can produce a 4th level spell slot. And then lastly we have Longevity, which I think was just the 18th level feature before. The primal magic that you wield causes you to age more slowly. For every 10 years that pass, your body only ages 1 year. Yeah, I don't know why they kept this in Druid, but removed the similar feature in Monk, but sure. This is interesting. I don't think Evergreen Wild Shape needs to have the restriction on it that you need to have no uses left. Like, I think whenever you roll initiative, you regain 1 use of Wild Shape. It's fine. And then Nature Magician's cool. I like that one as it is.
I think this is probably one of the first 20th level features we've looked at that like actually feels sort of good as 20th level. I feel like it could definitely use more.
Yeah, it could be a little bit better, but this one's...
It actually feels kind of good.
Yeah. The Cleric one is definitely better, but compared to some of the other ones on here, yeah, this one's definitely decent. Which you get, what, 4 uses of Wild Shape? So if you expend all your uses of Wild Shape, you can get an 8th level spell slot back. Honestly, it just depends on what they do to 8th level spells, really. Yeah. But
that could
2 8th level spell slots could be cool.
I guess it depends on which way you want to go with, if you're one, like you said earlier, being a shapeshifter or being...
Yeah, like what you want to focus on.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to the first subclass. We have the Circle of the Land. Circle spells now lets you pick a different land type each day. I think before you had to pick when you picked the subclass. It has also absorbed the old bonus cantrip feature, and the spell lists are shorter than their 2014 equivalents, since the Druid can now change the list each day. So now they get 1 first, 1 second. Yeah, so then they now just get 1 of each instead of 2 of each. But there are definitely some pretty good options on here. Arid Land has Fireball. Polar has Fog, Cloud, Hold Person, Sleet Storm, and Cone of Cold. That's not bad. Temperate has Misty Step, Sleep, which you're getting sleep past the point it's good, unfortunately. But and then Tropical has Web and Polymorph. All of these definitely have reasons to pick them.
Yes. It's cool that you get to cycle them out per day, so choice is always good.
Yeah, I like the versatility of this already. Land's Aid is a new 3rd level feature which lets the Druid expend uses of Wild Shape to heal and harm in an area. So I guess we'll take a look at that. As a magic action, you can expend a use of your Wild Shape and choose a point within 60 feet of yourself. Vitality giving flowers and life draining thorns appear for a moment in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on that point. Each creature of your choice in that area must make a Constitution saving throw or take 2d6 necrotic damage, or half as much on a successful one. In addition, one creature of your choice in that area regains 2d6 hit points, and then the amount of dice goes up at 10th and 14th level. It's not bad. It's basically the Wither and Bloom 2nd level spell that we got in Strixhaven. I don't know, that feature seems okay.
Yeah.
Like, good when you get it, but at 4d6 at 14th level seems pretty bad, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't really have anything like bad to say about it. It's overall, like, it's good. Probably could scale better, like you said. Is there a certain amount of times that you can do this, or is this just
Wild Shape?
Okay.
Yeah, you expend Wild Shape to do it. Which, I mean, to be honest, the circle spells is already interesting enough, but this is decent. What was this before?
Part of me feels like this is kind of too expensive.
Oh, this just wasn't a thing. Oh, they removed natural recovery. Okay, so they just move stuff around. Okay.
Like, you're spending a use of your Wild Shape, and yeah, each creature takes 2d6 after a con save, but then you're only able to heal one person, a certain amount of hit points. I don't know, I can see where it could come up, but I just feel like that's a little expensive to expend a whole Wild Shape. Because you get how many at?
I mean, you probably only need one a day for just utility uses.
Yeah,
but
I guess this isn't Moon Druid. You wouldn't be using this in combat, so maybe, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I think it could be better. Natural recovery moved to 6th level, replacing Landstride, and enhances circle spells. So tapping into nature, you can conserve and recover your magical power. You can cast one of the spells of 1st level or higher that you have prepared from your circle spells feature without expending a spell slot. You must finish a long rest before you do so again. In addition, when you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. These spell slots can have a combined level that is equal to or less than half your Druid level, and none of the slots can be 6th level or higher. So it's pretty much arcane recovery, plus a free cast of one of your circle spells. I like it.
I like it too.
It's pretty good.
I like the arcane recovery on Wizards, so, this just makes arcane recovery better. Nothing to complain about there. That's really good. I like that.
And then next up we have Nature's Ward, which has been redesigned to be more useful and interact with circle spells. Your bond with the land protects you, you are immune to the poison condition, and you have resistance to a damage type associated with your current land choice in the circle spells feature. So you can get fire, cold, lightning, or poison resistance. This honestly still just makes me sad about the 10th level monk feature.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, but it is cool.
It's cool. It's hard to follow monk with this.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, their logic throughout this whole playtest is just, I don't know. Yeah, it is weird that they're trying to move away from immunity with everybody else, and then it just shows up here.
They couldn't even give monk resistance.
I think this is the old. I think this might even. I know it's turning into the monk video all over again, but I think this truly is the first immunity that's shown up, like, at all. Like, they've removed every other immunity from the game for a while, and then now they've put this here. I don't know, but yeah.
Maybe this is just something that was lost in the print.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems pretty good, honestly. Like, especially if you know what you're going up against. Like, when you wake up that day and you know you're going in to fight something with fire, then you just pick Arid.
Oh, that's true. You can choose your resistance.
You get free protection from energy against those 4. Which, the elemental damage types are pretty common, especially poison. There's a lot of monsters that use poison. And I'm definitely not complaining about that tropical land spell list, dude.
I don't think any of those lands are, like, bad to take. I mean, there's
And-
definitely better, as always, there's better options
Yeah.
across the board.
Temperate is probably the worst. The other three are debatable. But, I mean,
Yeah.
even temperate is still worth taking in some cases, probably.
But how often the lightning damage resistance would come up, but like you said, if you know what you're going up against, it may be worth it just to take that land choice just for that option.
But yeah, lastly we have Nature's Sanctuary. It's been redesigned to give the Druid another way to use Wild Shape and to provide protection to the Druid and allies. As a magic action, you can expend a use of your Wild Shape to cause spectral trees and vines to appear in a 15-foot cube on the ground within 120 feet of yourself. They last for a minute or until you are incapacitated. You and your allies have half cover while in that area, and your allies gain the current damage resistance of your Nature's Ward while there. As a bonus action, you can move the cube up to 60 feet to ground within 120 feet of yourself. So that's pretty cool. You can also share the damage resistance.
That's cool.
And give a +2 to AC. I really like it in the new land Druid overall.
Yeah,
Not
me
gonna
too.
lie.
This thing is cool.
I think just change that land's aid feature, and this is a near perfect subclass.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then we have Circle of the Moon. Circle Forms has returned from the 2014 version of the subclass. As in that version, the feature is improved at 6th level, now in a feature called Improved Circle Forms. So yeah, you get challenge rating 1 at 3rd level, which again introduces the problem that you're ridiculously strong when you first get the subclass, and it scales terribly. But yeah, anyway, combat wild shape. When you assume a wild shape form, compare the beast's AC to your AC, including any armor you're wearing but not a shield. While in that form, you use whichever AC is higher. So I'll once again mention the cleric dip druid here. You get heavy armor, you can have plate AC on your brown bear at level 4. That could be pretty cool.
Yeah. Maybe this is potentially their idea of a fix of in terms of the hit points.
The next up thing is the temporary hit points. So
But, I mean, AC doesn't really matter against AoE stuff.
yeah,
like
but
the save is bad. But I guess
we'll get to the temporary hit
Yeah.
points, and then we'll. So when you assume a wild shape form, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the form's hit points, or 3 times your druid level, whichever number is lower. For example, if you turn into a wolf as a 5th level druid, you gain 11 temporary hit points, since 3 times your druid level is higher than the wolf's hit points. I think with the combination of the armor class buff and the temp HP, I think it's a nice middle ground, where the moon druid isn't having a ridiculous amount of effective hit points, but you're still stronger defensively than your average druid.
Yeah.
Because you have to be, because you're going into melee, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, you probably said it best. This is a good middle ground. It's weird, but it's balanced. It's balanced out, I would say.
Yeah, and then from the last playtest, they kept the abjuration spells thing. So while in wild shape, you can cast abjuration spells, except for any spell that has a material component with a cost specified or that consumes the material component. So, yeah, again, bringing up multiclassing, if you can get access to shield or counterspell, you can do it while wild shaped, which is pretty cool, especially with shield, because you can get that for just a 1 level dip.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. And then healing spells are now abjuration too, so you can healing word your friend who just went down while you're in bear form.
Which makes more sense than healing word being like an evocation.
That's what it
spell,
was before, was evocation. Yeah, I mean, I could go either way.
Yeah.
In older editions, they were actually necromancy, which all 3 honestly make sense. But yeah. And then lastly, we have Moonbeam. I guess to make it more lunar themed, they've added some Moonbeam stuff to Circle of the Moon. You always have Moonbeam prepared while in a wild shape form, and you can cast the spell in that form without material components. I guess one nice thing about that, I mean, obviously this comes up with the abjuration spells too, but if you lose the concentration spell that you did before your wild shape, now you could do a Moonbeam to sort of get a concentration spell back. It might not be necessarily the one you want. Moonbeam's decent, but I mean, I was going to say it's no Conjure Animals, but I assume Conjure Animals is going to change in this playtest, I hope.
One can hope.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's a cool feature. I think it's more of a plan B than like a thing you're gonna build around, though.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
It's nice having options, yeah.
And then improved circle forms is exactly the same, but now you're able to change your damage type to radiant damage when you hit with an attack. I think Moon Druid before just got attacks count as magical, so this is typical. They're giving you a damage type option instead of that. So yeah, this is good. I think the scaling for Moon Druids still needs to be better. And then there's a new feature at 10th level, whereas before there was Elemental Wild Shape, so that means Moon Druid actually scales even worse now because they don't get Elemental Wild Shape. So yeah. But, I mean, this feature does seem interesting. You magically transport yourself, reappearing amid a burst of moonlight. As a bonus action, you teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see, and you have advantage on the next attack roll you make before the end of this turn. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And then you can also regain uses by expending a spell slot of 2nd level or higher for each use you want to restore with no action required. I do really like this feature actually, but yeah, missing Elemental Wild Shape does feel pretty bad. I mean, it wouldn't feel that bad if they just fixed the scaling of Moon Druid.
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason the Elementals are so good is because all the other choices are bad. But
I mean, this, honestly, this feature...
well, it's one of the reasons, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, this feature just feels like kind of like a recycled, I think it was Shadow Monk.
Well, there's a lot of bonus action teleports in the game. I think that's okay.
Yeah. It just kind of feels like they ran out of inspiration on this one.
I don't know. It is still nice.
No, it's
useful.
useful.
Melee. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it feels recycled.
And then at 14th level, we get a completely new one, Lunar Form. Anything is better than 1,000 forms. So, movable Moonbeam. While your Moonbeam is active, you can move it up to 60 feet at the start of each of your turns with no action required. That's pretty huge, honestly, because it usually takes an action to move Moonbeam, I think. And then whenever you use Moonlit Step, you can also teleport one willing creature. That creature must be within 10 feet of you, and you teleport it to an unoccupied space you can see within 10 feet of your destination space. So it pretty much makes it like the Eladrin phase step, I think, where you can also teleport a friendly creature. Or no, that's instead, so...
It's like the Wildfire Spirit.
Yes, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to that, which... Yeah, I mean, this is a massive improvement on 1,000 forms, so I do appreciate that at least. But I don't know. The Moonbeam stuff is cool, but I now almost feel like the subclass is trying to do too much. Like, I would rather, instead of the Moonbeam stuff, just more focus goes onto Wild Shape. Like, the teleportation and all that is cool, but I just don't know if the Moonbeam stuff is necessary.
Yeah, it'd probably be nice to see, like, a different 14th level, like that second feature of it, the movable Moonbeam. I know that they're trying to make it so you can still have a spell that's concentration up, even if you lose one, so you have like a second chance, I guess. But it kind of feels like they also sort of want you to build around the Moonbeam a little bit. Not heavily, of course, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's still good, the teleporting a friend as well. But
yeah. I see what you're saying, though. Having... Because you kind of... Your Circle of the Moon's kind of famous for combat. Being wild-shaped in combat, and, you know, you kind of lose that at 6. It's kind of, it loses its way there, and then beyond that, it's just kind of like, okay, well.
yeah, you're gonna really feel it at 10th level when you don't get Elemental Wild Shape.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. They really just need to fix the scaling of it. It needs to be a little bit weaker at 3rd level, and then it needs to be a lot stronger, a lot faster.
Yeah.
Especially now that the whole hit points thing isn't an issue. Like, I feel like even if they overtuned the scaling a little bit, it wouldn't be that bad because now you don't have hundreds of hit points.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now we have the new one, the Circle of the Sea. I kind of like the theme of this one. The circle spells are all kind of storm-based. So you get Fog Cloud, Gust of Wind, Ray of Frost, Shatter, and Thunder Wave, and then Sleet Storm and Lightning Bolt at 3rd level, Control Water and Ice Storm at 7th, and then Conjure Elemental and Hold Monster. It's a decent list. There's no, like, big standouts there. Sleet Storm is alright. Yeah, it's an okay spell list.
Thematically, it's cool though.
Yeah. And then Wrath of the Sea, as a bonus action, you can expend a use of your wild shape to manifest an aura that takes the form of ocean spray that surrounds you. The aura lasts for 10 minutes. It ends early if you're incapacitated, dismiss it, or manifest the aura again. At the end of each of your turns, you can choose another creature you can see within 10 feet of yourself. They must succeed a con save against your spell DC or take thunder damage. And if the creature is large or smaller, be pushed up to 10 feet away from you. To determine this damage, roll a number of d6s equal to your wisdom modifier. When you first get this, I think it's really cool. But I don't think that's going to be enough damage once you get into the higher levels.
Yeah. Why no scale? Like,
well, it scales a little bit, but it's only going to scale by like 1 or 2 d6.
yeah.
And then at 6th level, we have Aquatic Affinity. You always have the water breathing spell prepared. In addition, you gain a swim speed equal to your speed. If you use Wild Shape to assume a form that lacks a swim speed, that form gains your swim speed.
Your spider can now swim.
Yes. And can breathe underwater.
And it can talk. It's too good, man.
Yeah.
I like it. It's cool. It fits the theme.
It's interesting, yeah. I do like the thematics of this subclass a lot. Like a storm and water.
Is that a bit late,
Subclass.
though? Getting those features?
No, I think that's about right for that. Water breathing's a 3rd level spell.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and then at 10th level, we get Stormborn, which makes Wrath of the Sea confer 2 more benefits. You gain a fly speed equal to your speed, and you have resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder damage. Which, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is about the time you would really start to feel that scaling lacking, so it's a nice bump to the Wrath of the Sea. It'd be cool if it also made it do a little bit more damage, too.
Yes, agreed. On the 14th level, I suppose.
Yeah, so the 14th level is Oceanic Gift. Whenever you use Wrath of the Sea, you can manifest the aura around one willing creature within 60 feet of you, rather than manifesting it around yourself. The creature gains all the benefits of the aura and uses your spell save DC and wisdom modifier for it. In addition, you can manifest the aura around both the other creature and yourself if you expend 2 uses of Wild Shape instead of 1 when manifesting the aura. I really like this one. You could give Fly and the resistance to one of your melee allies. That would help them out quite a bit. And then they're going into melee, so they're going to get a lot more benefit out of the end of the turn damage too. That honestly makes me wonder though, like what if that was just a core part of the feature that you could put it on yourself or somebody else? Doesn't necessarily need to be 14th level, their capstone.
Yeah. I guess that's just a weird feature in my opinion. Like, it's cool. Just not really sure how I feel about it. I guess this is more like I guess they sort of were fixing the front loading issues too with this, in this subclass, I guess. Like, it's just kind of like, there's no peaks or anything, but...
I mean, it drops pretty hard. I don't know.
Well, there's no, okay, it does drop, but there are no, like, massive peaks where it's like...
It's not like Circle of the Moon, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, where it's just like peaks hard and then straight line down, yeah. Alright, so that'll do it for Druid for us. If you'd like to check out our last video where we talked about the Cleric from this UA, you can click here. Thanks for watching.